Welcome to week 4 of Newswriting. This week, our focus will be taking the skills we've been talking about the last couple of weeks and applying them to writing a profile. Your assignment this week is to find an interesting person to profile. Remember, most people have stories to tell. You just have to get them to tell them. One of the things I want you to focus on is looking for someone perhaps you don't know. I think one of the tendencies is for students who are beginning using their interviewing skills to try to talk to people that they're already comfortable with. And that may be okay if you do have a very good subject. Perhaps you have a grandparent who has done some interesting things through their life, or you know a neighbor or a friend. For this assignment, I will allow you to go ahead and talk to someone that you know. But you also might want to challenge yourself a little bit and go out and talk to someone you don't know. Maybe follow up on a story that caught your interest in the Clarion or another local newspaper. Remember that it's important to do your research. You need to do a background check on the person, and I would recommend that even if you think they're a wonderful person, that you run them through the Wisconsin Circuit Court access. This will give you background information if someone has been charged with a crime. Also, remember the term we introduced using the morgue. This means doing a search of that person and any stories that have been run about them in the past. So you might want to consider a Google search. And remember social media. You can check someone's Facebook page, check their Twitter feed, even visit their LinkedIn page and get a lot of really great background information. Another valuable source for you will be to talk to people who know that person. So these are secondary sources. In addition to talking to the person you're profiling, I would also recommend you talk to someone who knows them. Perhaps it's a friend, a neighbor, a coworker. Then I would like you to make sure you arrange an interview with this person. These need to be face-to-face interviews with people. In the event it's someone you can only get a hold of through phone or email, please make sure you contact me and clear that with me in advance. This is a great opportunity for you to work on the interview skills that we've talked about in the past couple of weeks. Make sure you set up your interview ahead of time. Do not wait until the last minute in case their plans fall through. Perhaps even your whole story could change or be canceled altogether, and you may need to come up with another subject. Also, it's important to leave yourself some time to ask follow-up questions. Perhaps you'll need a second interview. Another valuable tactic is to consider following that person along. For example, if you're writing about an interesting job they might have, you might want to actually spend a day on the job with them, and so you'll need to make sure you set that up in advance. And some people need to get permission from managers to have someone along with them. Sometimes it takes a couple interviews just to get someone comfortable enough to really talk to you. And so again, the interview will take a lot of your time, and you should plan accordingly. It is okay to go into your interview with questions. Feel free to write them out, and this might help keep you organized, especially if you're nervous at first. Again, a tape recorder can be your friend. It can help you make sure you're accurately quoting the person. Remember, direct quotes are things that are in quotation marks, and they must be what the person says word for word. You also will be using something called paraphrasing, and as a review, that is when you summarize what someone has already said. So you must be keeping it in context, being accurate. Sometimes a really good reason to paraphrase is if someone is long-winded, perhaps they use profanities, or maybe they're just not able to explain themselves in the best way to tell their story, and you can help move that along. Then, after you've completed your interview, you're going to have to sit down and think of, really how you're going to put the story together. And this week I've provided you with several videos to watch on how to construct a story. Remember, you need to think about your lead, so the who, what, when, where, why. You need to have a nut graph. Tell us why this person is newsworthy or where you're headed with the story. And you need to wrap up the story at the end, making sure you've answered all your readers' questions. Another important reminder when you're writing a profile is that your story should be focused. This story will be 750 words, and that's not enough space to be able to tell someone's life story. So you're going to want to find a piece of that person's life that you want to focus on. It's okay to ask for a copy of their resume if you think that's going to be helpful. But again, ask them who else you can talk to who might really know them. So have fun this week, find an interesting subject, and make sure you do get started early on your profiles.